Well, you might think that winky face emojis are the perfect way to say, I'm kidding. But do you know how the law sees it? With emojis becoming more a staple in our everyday conversation, we're seeing them being submitted as evidence in criminal cases. But since there are no specific laws governing the use of emojis, it's up to the courts to decide how to interpret them in each specific case. Elizabeth Kirle is a senior lecturer at Deakin University in Melbourne and an adjunct professor at York University's Osgoode Hall Law School. She co-authored the report, The Emoji Factor, with her Deakin colleague, Dr. Marilyn McMahon, and she joins us this morning. Thank you so much for being here. You've said that emojis are perfect if you want to do something illegal.
Well, I have a criminal law background, so I automatically think of the rogue aspect of any innovation. So yes, I think they are perfect because they seem to be harmless, and they seem to be cute, fuzzy, warm, and quick. Yeah. And they can get you into a lot of trouble.
But we've seen actual cases where people have been charged and even convicted because of their use of emojis. Let's take a look at this board. France convicted a man for threatening his girlfriend with a gun emoji. New Zealand did the same, but for a plain emoji, arguing it was enough evidence that he was on his way to her. And a teen in New York was slapped with terrorism charges for sending a policeman emoji with 3 guns next to it, though those charges were dropped because of a lack of proven intent. So how hard would it be for judges to reach these decisions?
Some cases are very clear. The one I think of is a case from South Carolina where there was a fist and then a finger pointing to a hospital. That's pretty clear. There was no text there. So the message was, we're going to beat you up so severely, you have to go to the hospital. So that was a sort of an easy score for the judge. But emojis, for the most part, can be used to confuse and to make a message ambiguous. Right. Or if it's a romantic message, to sort of put the brakes on or be flirtatious, be ambiguous, have nuance. And so that's where judges are having some difficulty.
Well, what about the flip side and using emojis in one's defense?
Such as?
With the just kidding defense, for example.
So there are 2 emojis that come to mind. One of them is on your screen, the winky emoji. The other one is the tongue hanging out of the side of the mouth. And yes, at least within our culture group, we use that to suggest that I don't really mean what I'm saying. Yeah. And there's a case that reached the Supreme Court in the U.S. called Deluce, and that was a rapper who was using really vile, vicious lyrics that he sent to his wife, the text that he sent to his ex-wife. And he claimed that he was just kidding because after all of that venom that he put into a text, he had a little winky emoji. That didn't really go down well.
It didn't work, huh?
No, I don't think so.
So, I've got to wonder, before we wrap this up, emojis have really come on very strong in popular culture, and for a certain generation, it's almost a second language. But I've got to wonder, is this something, clearly the law needs to address it on a case-by-case basis, but I'm wondering, maybe this is just something we need to wait out as a society. Maybe these things will go the way of the dodo bird. Is that something we could do, or is it something that is so prevalent and growing that we really do need to take a hard look at this from a legal standpoint and come up with real hard and fast rules?
Well, do you use emoji?
A little bit. I use like 3 or 4 of them.
Right. So our study says it's growing exponentially, but also it's morphing into GIFs. I have an emoji app on my phone where the emoji move and dance and so on. So a judge has to look at that and say, if I were 15 years old and I were communicating to another 15-year-old, what would I be saying? Would I actually be threatening them or breaking the law in some way? So they're around. They're going to be around for a long time. That's my call.
Food for thought. Elizabeth Kirle, thank you so much for being here and sharing your insights today.
My pleasure.